and welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stu.
I'm Jack Luffman.
On today's show, we are going to be talking football. It's exciting. I've got some breaking big news today.
Have you?
Yes.
Is that some inside knowledge from a certain person?
No. It's just Larkin's back.
Oh,
I was going to build up a bit bigger, but then I realised it's not really that big.
Because he's been on the golf course today.
Well, I figured it's because he's qualified out of the Champions League group, and he's been a bit quiet, hasn't he?
Yeah,
so I figured that was the reason he decided to jump back in the show. But yeah, interesting news. Larkin is back. Matthew Underwood will also be with us today's show, talking Premiership, particularly Liverpool game. We're back, but we're also going to be talking about county cricket has started, but I was going to say not in particularly great conditions, but we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. Football, Arabian Gulf League is getting interesting and exciting, and there's a big clash this weekend, which we'll talk about. Matt is going to be with us for Premier League, a little bit of Champions League football. The old golf starts this week, and if my betting is anything like my playing, I've just lost money.
It's the golf tournament that outside the Wider Cup, every sports fan watches, isn't it? Yeah,
so we'll see. Well, you can tell me how my predictions and my bets will look.
Okay.
But it's not a real bet because we don't really bet. We'll be talking. Big talking point this week is It's not Alfie. It's Erling Haaland. How good is he? That is going to be the talking point this week, and then we will bring in Larkin back in the show. But we're going to start off with our sporting week. So I think this time last week we were sat here thinking Jack's going to play. Was it the quarterfinals?
Effectively, it's called the eliminator, but effectively a
quarterfinals. And then if he won, was moving on to the semi-finals, ready for potentially the final this weekend.
Yeah.
So Jack, how do you get on in the quarters, the semis, and are you looking forward to the final?
I'm looking forward to the final, but we won't be playing, unfortunately, Stuart.
Oh,
no. We missed out last Thursday evening in what can only be described as very humid and damp, dewy conditions. Good game of cricket. Considering if it had gone on previous to that, the less said about that, the better. And we certainly were not at our best fielding and bowling. So we ended up having to chase 234, which is a mammoth score.
I was going to say, isn't it like a par score about 170, 180?
Yeah, 180 I think is probably par. I think now in this competition this year, I think you're looking at more 190, 200. Having said that, 180 you probably win more games than you lose. It's a massive score, and it was getting wetter and wetter. So obviously, for those who are not quite sure, or Stu, when the ball gets obviously getting the dew in it, it becomes very soft to hit and not travelling on the deck very fast. So it was never going to be easy. But going into the last over, we needed 15 to win.
And how many did you get?
So I got run aboard 20 odd in a crucial partnership with Clint.
Oh no, that last over.
Oh, sorry.
Look at you. It's all about himself.
No, I thought I was just ready for it.
Jeez.
How many did we get? To be honest, we bet 4. I think we just
capitulated.
Yeah, I mean a lot relied on Clint in that last over, and unfortunately he was absolutely knackered.
Well, to be fair, I think
got one out, and then they bought a good over. To be fair as well, and yes, we came. I don't know what he was, 8 or 9 short in the end, something like that. So it was a really, really good effort from everybody. Like everybody in the batting sort of played their part. Because when you're chasing 230, obviously you've just got to go and as a partnership. But unfortunately that's it. That's the season over. They will play some Ramadan tournaments. I think they started last night, but that's my season done. I only played the SLs. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, because I know you played late, I actually got up and found the scorecard, and it was, and I had a look at it, and the top of the order particularly did put some good scores in there, and they're saying he did just fall short and. Not a bad return from yourself, is it 24?
Yeah, 24, 25, I say, because with the difficult thing is when you're chasing and going hard like they did at the top, is that you can't afford to keep losing wickets. So when I batted at 4, Clint at 5, we sort of said we came together, both of us, I think I was on 1 when he came out there, or something like that. So we just got to try and keep the almost somewhere there we need to do, but also get a partnership together and get into their 4th, 5th, 6th bowlers, which we did manage to do. So I think we put 50 odd on, and at the same time managed to keep us up with the rate. And then I was out, and then Sid came in and actually probably played his best innings of the season, just whacked it. And to be fair, another 4 or 5 balls of him, we probably won the game. Fine lines, as you know, in cricket. So a bit disappointing, but
just out of interest, how were we out this week? Was it LBW? Was it a catch? Was it?
I can't argue with anybody this week. It was bold. I was going for a bit. To be fair, I didn't bounce a lot, so I got under edge and bold. But yeah, it was a good season all in all. I think certainly the best season Exiles have had in the DSL, and hopefully we'll see how we build on that for next year. But
so, what's the plan now for you for the next couple of weeks? Is it just take a couple of weeks off,
bit of rest, bit of golf, bit of rest, and then try and get back fit, ready for September when we start again.
So you got
who or where that will be, we shall wait and see.
That's definitely a conversation. There's like subtle hints being dropped for the last couple of weeks, but guys, don't worry. When the time is appropriate and right, we'll let you know about Jack and his fallout.
Oh, not a fallout.
He hates everybody. That's what it is. He's just angry. Jack came out. Somebody mentioned Mourinho and he quit cricket. And I what's it about?
I am blaming Jose.
Yeah. News on Barrichello is he's done as well. We've
all done.
It's just like you two, just so synced. It's untrue. Barrichello's now being told that he'll go for rest now after the last one. They are looking at his airway to see if he needs an operation, which I think we mentioned beforehand. But yeah, he's now.
I don't think we did we? Because they was racing this time last week.
Oh, was it? Yeah. So he finished second. Oh, I didn't. Yeah. So he finished second. Yeah. It was literally 15 minutes afterwards. So we sat and watched it. Similar to every other race, 2 or 3 out, looks in a good position. When he gets to 2 out, or maybe the last jump, it just seems like everybody else accelerates. He just doesn't have that.
He didn't even jump the last hurdle, did he?
He just ran through it. Yeah, just ran through it. But he looked all right, and you could just. The worry was as always with Barrichello, is that if anybody comes alongside him with like 2 furlongs on, maybe even the last furlong, I just don't have any faith that he's going to go past them. It just seems that either he's a little bit weak mentally, or he's not got a big enough heart where he just can't push and
just seem to want to go, does he?
No, so unfortunately, but I think
he's resting, isn't he?
Hughesy said afterwards he said it, we were checking his airway. So
they call it wind, don't they? Not the wind that we would refer to.
So yeah, they're going to have a look at that and see if he needs to have an op with regards to that. But yeah, he's now done dusted. I was going to say that sent to pastures, but then that's completely inappropriate for horses. Is that not when you get shot?
No, I don't think so. He might
send
out to stud.
Yeah. So I think he's now on vacation. Him and Jack are going to just go lie down and play golf. I think
just tickle each other's stomachs.
I tell you what, you've got a good chance of beating him at golf. I reckon. You're the only person you can beat.
He won't get around 18 holes, would he?
No, probably not. He'd probably need a nap. You'd probably have to fall off and lose your clubs.
Very calm on the golf course.
Okay, we'll see. But yeah.
What about you, Stu?
Yes. So we started last night in the Ramadan Cup, which our team normally enters 2 teams into the league. We decided to spread ourselves really thin and put 3 teams in. I think there's 4 groups, so we've got 3 teams in 3 different groups. So we had our first game against the team finished 3rd place last season, Redbacks I think it was. And to be fair, some of these guys last night I'd never played with. So keeper I knew from last season. Danny I played with 2 leagues ago in the 7-a-side.
Oh, so you mixed the teams together?
They've tried to equal out the 3 teams, but you're allowed 1 under 35 lad to play.
That's not you, is it?
It's never been me. Look at the state of my grade, fog lights at the bottom of my chin.
Jill won't be happy with that, appearing on YouTube with that.
What's she going to do? Nothing.
Facebook.
Nothing. You're going to do nothing. That's because she won't watch it. That's why I can say that.
No support.
Just check, there's nothing in it. Yeah.
All right. There.
Yeah. So there's Ross that plays for the first team. He didn't look a bad player. Graham who played with me last couple of times. Steph I've not really played with before. A new guy called Walid played for us last night. We huffed and puffed a little bit, didn't really get going. And they had, last time we played this team, it can only be described as a Viking that plays for them. He's like 6'3", 6'4", bigger, a lot bigger than me. And he just wants to fight with me all the time, but not like fight punches and like, just wants to wrestle me and just kick lumps out of me. So first ball comes in and I managed to nestle myself in, the ball comes in, a nice little touch, sift it off. Next one comes in, bang, straight through the back of me, listening. Referee, no protection. Worst one was I turned him, he's fallen on the floor, he's then gone to kick the ball back to the keeper, but I'm in front of him and he just took both my legs out from underneath me and landed me on my back. And I'm like, and he's going, I didn't mean to do that, ref. I didn't mean to do that. I'm like, but I'm through on goal. You know, like you just completely took me out, and my back, I've been having problems with, it went again, and I was like, I just don't need this big lump.
You're going to be sent out to pastures as well.
Yeah, I think I'm joining you and Baricello. Yeah, long story, cut short. We won 3-2. Two goals for the booth.
Good effort. Off we go. And talking of big lads, your two have had a good week as well, haven't they? Sporting week.
Yeah. So I sent Harry. Harry's been going down to a company called Football Escapes, which is run by a nice guy called Sam, and then a couple of pro footballers linked with Rio Ferdinand, Mark Noble, Bobby Zamora. So Harry's been going down there and helping out as an assistant coach this week, so getting him out and about. And Bella actually went along and participated. So yeah, Bella's been doing a little bit of football with Bobby Zamora.
I tell you what, I went down with you up there. Was it Tuesday, I think?
Yeah.
And he is one big fella.
Yeah.
I sent a picture to my mate Lovers. He went, "He was that big."
Yeah.
So it's Bobby Zamora. So he's a unit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's probably about 6'2", almost 6'3".
Yeah.
He's decent height on him, but in great shape.
Solid, isn't
Yeah, literally you can just see, even his top's not even tight, but you can just see like the muscle line through, and you're like, he has kept himself in great shape. But yeah,
good chap as well.
Nice guy, really nice guy. I had a couple of chats with him. Should have actually took him down last night. He could have had a fight with the Vikings.
Not playing.
And then let them two fight amongst them. I'll just pick the ball up when it comes back off them. But yeah, it was good game. So we roll on to next week. I think it's 3 weeks of group games, and then the final night is just rest the games played in one night.
Oh, that'll be good then.
So yeah,
and not too hot boys when we finish them. It's getting there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the only issue we have is originally we've got a squad. Each team's got a squad of 10. Last night we had 3 injuries. And we already had 2 drops out.
I'm off to get my boots out then.
We were massively struggling last night. At one point, our other team were playing afterwards, and they were about to bring another lad on just because another injury had happened. Their team were like, he's not registered. So our gaffer at the time was like, because he was playing, he was like, you're right. So we had to bring one of the injured lads back on. Steph had to go and play up front, and I dropped into midfield for the last 20 minutes. But that helped me because the big lads were kicking me, and that's when I scored the third one. So all good. But yeah, so we'll keep you posted with that because I'm sure you're all interested in the Bets League in Dubai.
Yeah. Ramadan tournament.
Yeah, it's almost exciting as county cricket.
So today is the official start of the cricket season, Stu. Usually it's the when the previous year's winners play an MCC side, which has been in Dubai actually in recent years, but that's obviously not happened this year for obvious reasons. So today was the start of the county championship. Albeit, I think he might have warmed up slightly today, but yesterday there were footage of Durham practicing on their ground there at Chester Street in the snow. Actually in the snow. It was proper coming down, and there was white on the wicket when they were playing, because obviously they're that desperate.
It must be that.
And the forecast obviously for today and the next 4 days was decent, so they got out there. So yeah, they were all about lunchtime, so I just had a quick look. Cookies out. For Essex, Hampshire under 9 for 2, so they've had a good start against Leicestershire. Surrey, my boys 92 for 3, so it could be better. But they're now all regionalised, so they've got away from 2 championships. They're in groups, so I think, which is good because I think it means that some of their counties are playing each other for the first time for a number of years actually. So hopefully they have a good season.
Yeah, I was going to say on the back of that, I bet the cricket's going to be a bit like the beer gardens next week. Come rain or shine, because they're allowed in beer gardens. People will just be stood in the rain with a pint in their hands just because they can.
How ridiculous is that though? So you can go do that, but they can't have any fans at the county championship. Now usually in the county championship, one man and his dog, literally one man and his dog, but they're not opening up yet. They can go and stand in a beer garden. It makes no sense to me, but yeah. So the county championship has started, so that's good. I think a lot of the clubs are streaming it, so I might catch up with a bit over the weekend. We can watch it together, mate.
Oh yeah, awesome. When I'm tired and need a nap, I'll
go
around.
I'll want you wake up when the exciting bits happen.
When's that? Lunch.
Crack on with the football.
Right, okay, Arabian Gulf League. It was an interesting week with regards to fixtures. They actually happened the day after the podcast went out. So I'll go through them all and then we'll show the impact on the league because it's getting tasty. Hatta 2, Al Dafra 2. Shabab Ahli won again 3-2 against Fujairah. Al Wada lost 1-0 to Kalba. Al Ain lost 3-1 to Al Nasr, which is a good result for you boys. and particularly for this weekend anyway. Al Jazeera 3, Al Wasl 2. So we were hoping Al Wasl could have done us a favour, but didn't do. Kofkan 2, Ajman 3, Sharjah 1, Benias 1, which didn't really do us two the favours that we wanted, but it helped Al Jazeera out. So the way it stands now with regards to the league, we currently have Al Jazeera top with 50 points, Benias with 49, so they've swapped positions from last weekend's results. Shabab Ahli have now moved into third place on 43 points. I think with 3 games left, it's near on impossible. Mathematically, it's not.
Yeah.
But I would say, well, Al Jazeera...
2 horse race now, I think.
Al Jazeera and Benias need to win 1 game out of the last 3 to rule them out. Sharjah into 4th place and Al Nasr into 5th, albeit both on the same goal difference. So I don't know if it's goals.
I think it's goals scored, isn't it? I think
goals. Well, according to this, goals for would be Sharjah 42, Euronium 40.
Goals. Yeah.
Al in 6th, but I think they lost. So that's probably they lost to you guys.
Yeah.
But the interesting fixture this weekend is not to do with the league.
It's the Super Cup final.
It's not Super Cup because we've already won that. It's just the Arabian Gulf Cup.
Gulf Cup.
It's the Gulf Cup. So Shabab Al-Ahli versus Al Nasr at Sharjah Stadium on Friday at 7:05 Dubai time. So no doubt that'll be streamed on Dubai Sports and Abu Dhabi Sports. If you want to watch that, have a look at that. Shabab Al-Ahli going for their 2nd cup victory this season.
Come on, Nasr.
Should be just a walkover, really. May as well just give us the cup now.
I'm really, really looking forward to being able to go watch some of this football next year. I have to say, I've sort of been following it and one thing or another, and let's hope that comes sooner rather than later next year.
Yeah, my boy Eduardo's going to rip you a new one this weekend, so we'll leave that where it is. So good luck the 2 teams this weekend, and then I think it's a couple of weeks break, and then we hit the last 3 games of the season, which I think pretty much in a short stint between the end of April and beginning of May. Yeah. So good news on that. But we are going to attempt our live sequence again to Matthew. So guys, we'll see you on the other side. And here he is, Matthew. Welcome to the show, Matthew. Looking pretty in pink, may I say?
Yeah, thanks, lads. I just got off the golf course there. So with Mr. Larkin, the fantasy football specialist. Good round, actually, yeah. Feeling good.
Excellent. I tell you what, we're not going to hold back because it's an important match he's covered today or last week. So let's just get straight on with it. Arsenal versus Liverpool, Matthew. What are your viewpoints?
Well, very one-sided game, wasn't it? Absolute. Arsenal awful, Liverpool great. 3 good goals. Trent back to his best. Was that for England? Maybe looking at selection-wise. Jota says the best Portuguese player in the world at the minute, which I know a lot of United fans would argue with. But too easy. I think I picked the wrong game. It's always going to be a big win, I think.
Yeah, just on that way about Trent, you were saying there about Trent being back to his best. Do you think, and I'll throw this out to Jack as well, do you think that England neglect has probably given him a kick up the bum? Obviously, we'll talk about Liverpool, Real Madrid in a minute, but you think he gave him the good kick that he needed?
I think so, yeah. I think he's real. I think he got complacent, and I think it's really easy to do. You usually talk about it with forwards, don't you? You know, he's going through a dry spell, and I think you mentioned the other day, Stu, about Vardy. I think it's 16 games, is it, without a goal? You usually pinpoint the forwards if you don't score a goal. However, you look at Trent's performances, and he's been less than average, which is terrible for him. He's probably getting to most Premiership teams, let's be honest, but for Liverpool, should have been a lot better. I think he's looked for, Kyle Walker's there. We've got Trippier, who's doing all right in Spain, but he's had 15 games off for his betting ban. He needs to think, and I think he's thought, let me step up. I've got to put the performances in. He's put a worldie cross in for Jota's first. I think he was involved in the second. I think he's pinged it inside to, was it Thiago, who played the ball for Salah? And then the third was, I think he played a little part in that as well, when Jota's took it off Mane, who must be fuming with Salah scoring, and he's been robbed at the back post. But yeah, I think the England setup, I think he's thinking he needs to get to those Euros, and he's gonna, I think it might be too late for him now, to be honest, but he's gonna put his name in the hat. But yeah, I do think it's played a massive part in it.
I'll make a prediction. He goes 100%. It's just Southgate just giving him that kick up the backside. He goes 100%. I'm not saying he'll start, because clearly he's not been at his best this season. He's still making mistakes, even though he looks like his return, Wednesday night being there or Tuesday night being the obvious one. But 100% he goes in the squad. And I think you'll find I prefer Reece. I like Reece James. I've said that for a long while. I think you might find that one of Trippier or Walker might get left out.
No, well, I was thinking about this the other day, and I think the biggest fear, and this is probably for every England fan looking at that squad, is that if we play Portugal or we play France, so we play somebody that's got a live wire winger, like a Ronaldo that pops out to the left-hand side or an Mbappe that pops out to the left-hand side, you can't play Trent Alexander-Arnold because he will leave us massively exposed. And you'll have to go for Kyle Walker, I think, because you've got the experience there, you've got a big, strong boy that knows how to combat and be physical at the same time, but also has a recovery pace to then, if he does get done, can get back in around. Trent doesn't have that. Reece James is quite fast, but not, I wouldn't say lightning fast. And Trips isn't the quickest either. So I think Kyle Walker is going to be a safe bet for right back if you get into later rounds for the Euros.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, Go on.
No, one question. I'm just going to go back to the game, first of all. But Arsenal, then, where does that leave Arteta? Because all of the stats, I just said to Stu, this is a stat. So his first 50 games for Arsenal was at the weekend. That was his 50th game. His record is worse than Unai Emery's first 50 games and Arsene Wenger's last 50 games. Where does it leave him?
Well, when you put it like that, common sense says he's got to go. But being an ex-player, won the FA Cup a couple of times, I think it's the same as Solskjaer. It's that romance, isn't it? It's like part of the club can't sack him as early. Like Lampard can't sack him as early because he's got history with the club. Really, it should be a bit more cutthroat. And right, you're the worst out of three. You should be on your bike. Whether he's getting a little bit more time, I don't know. But they're not looking at the table. The way down there. They need a bit of a miracle. They need teams above them to sort of falter. They need to a lot more. You look at the back four. Gabriel, I think Bouvier'd get in front of Gabriel and at the back. He's awful. Three goals. He played a part in. He weren't there for the header for the first one. Gave the ball away for the third one. Second one, he slid in, missed the ball. Yeah. You'd be absolutely. You shouldn't be. You'd be put into the under 23s. Absolutely, like awful player.
I tell you what makes it interesting, just on that defensive thing, is Arsenal bought Saliba, and he was one of them that I was tipping to be one of the highest prospects to come into Premiership because of how well he'd done in France. And he's not even had a sniff, and they've sent him back out, and he's been picking up Player of the Month back in France again. So what on earth is going on at that club for them to not even look at this lad in the starting 11?
But that's where you Arsenal 10th, they're not going to make Europe, let's be honest. That's where you get these lads in and say, right, go and have a go. It's 8 games left. It's real games. It's not like the last game of the season where anything goes. It's proper points on the table. Give him a go. Can he mix it with the big boys? Can he mark, some of the big players, the forwards? That's what I would be thinking. But I don't know, every place is a bit of money, isn't it? And Arteta probably wants his win bonuses and things. So yeah.
I tell you what, right, so we barely covered the actual match in our quick chat because we digress massively. Liverpool, I would say, looked almost back to being the Liverpool we saw from the season before. Could this now kickstart their season and really push them for the top 4 finish?
Yeah, I think they've got that kick up the bum. I think Europe, obviously they got beat and it was a shocking first half for them. However, they did sort of turn the switch at half time, and I think that sort of, it looks like the rest of the season. It's like we've got the 8 games left, need a kick up the bum. Like I think you said in the last week's podcast, unless I think they've got to win the Champions League, and United have got to come 4th, is it, for them to qualify? Yeah. Unless they win the Champions League, they need a real push, and I think it's the ultimate thing. And to keep the best players, you've got to get Champions League. Would they keep Mane, Salah, etc.? If they're not in the Champions League next season, I don't know. So I think they'll all be thinking, we've got to go for it. So I think they're in the best position to be to be Europe places. So I think they'll be up there. I do think they'll be up there. Arsenal, absolutely no chance.
Right, come on. You said I think they'll be up there. Are they going to make 4 or not? Come on, Matthew.
Don't be Switzerland.
No, they're not.
Right, let's end him now. Let's get
on there.
Right, so quickly before you disappear, who are you covering this weekend, Matthew?
I'm going to stick with Liverpool, and they're playing Villa. So I think that'll be a very tasty game. I think
7-0.
I think I don't think Liverpool will be that bad. I think, it might be 5-0 Grealish hat-trick. But yeah, no, I think it'll be a lot of goals, very close game, 3-2 either way, I think. So that's what I'm going for.
Right, let me try and send you out. You ready with magic of the hand?
Ready.
And we're back.
He caught the sun on his cheeks there, didn't he? Did you see that? He had his pink cheeks to match his pink shirt.
I think he's wore white to try and highlight he has got a bit better tan. But yeah, even though we didn't really cover Liverpool game in great detail, we all knew that.
Fair point. I think, even though I'm not an Arsenal fan, I think he's a bit harsh in terms of getting whether he thinks Arteta should actually be sacked. I think it's an interesting.
Yeah, I think on that point, because I know we didn't want to harp on too much about it, is that Arteta came in when they were in real dire straits, and it's obviously taken a while to embed certain aspects. So if you write off his first few results, I'd say that if you probably go the last 10, 15 games, the form of Arsenal is probably a lot better. But I think the problem is that when I watch Arsenal, they try to do it with Liverpool. Liverpool had a really good game. Is they try and play like City.
Yeah.
But they just don't have City players.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you're trying to play the ball out from the back and you're trying to integrate that ball through the midfield and feed the ball into people. But I think it was interesting because that's the first time I watched Odegaard play.
Yeah.
Quoting some big numbers for him, 50 plus million, and did nothing.
No,
very distant in that game.
I think they're really poor. I think they're a poor side, and I think they've got to stick with Arteta now because who are you going to get who's better? And it's the same bunch of players. I agree with completely what he said, and it just frustrates me massively. Maybe we'll start with this. With Spurs' performance there, 3 weeks ago, on the back of we were in good form, and go there and be so passive against that really poor team. It makes it really poor.
I did say to you at the time, I was like, either Liverpool played really well, or Arsenal were just average, and then you were a little bit like, that frustrates me even more with the fact that we went and lost there. But anyway, we'll move on to the other results. Chelsea 2, West Brom 5. If anybody predicted that, they deserve to be a multi-millionaire because nobody'd seen that coming. Chelsea looked so solid, but Thiago, for an experienced player, so naive. Even though I still think the second yellow is harsh, you just can't.
Don't get yourself in that position there.
Can't, because the lad's shot is going high, wide, and it's not very handsome.
Yeah.
And then because he's throwing himself kind of in towards the ball and the player. It's
naive from an experienced player.
Very much so. Leeds scraped through against Sheffield United. Sheffield United did try and throw a bit of a comeback, but Leeds were quite comfortable. Leicester didn't really get going. Man City cruise control most of the game. 2-0. As we mentioned, Liverpool Arsenal, great result for Liverpool. Southampton 3, Burnley 2. Burnley thrown away 2-0 lead there. Completely capitulated. And Southampton looks so open. And it could have been more.
To be fair, I watched that. It was a decent game too.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because we went for a Sunday roast. I just happened to sit here with a big screen right behind Jill's head, so I was like, yeah. But yeah, it was
staring lovingly into the TV.
Yes, that's correct. But the result of the day was this one: Newcastle 2, Spurs 2, 2-1 up, coursing. Say 3 good breakaway opportunities for you guys to dead and bury the game. And then, of all people, Willock.
Yeah.
On loan.
And Joe Linton scored as well, the first one.
Well, yeah, but the more important one is on loan from Arsenal, pops up, and he's absolutely made sure with that, hasn't he? If anybody gets in there, that's taking the head off.
Yeah. Spurs were just... I'll have a rant, because I know that's what you tear me up for, so I'll have a rant. They were awful. So, again, like, you're dead right, we missed some chances, and if Lamela could actually... he has 5 touches for any decent player's 1 touch. He should have put in on Dembele once, he should have put in somebody, and then he eventually got fouled, but he shouldn't have even drawn the foul because he needs to pass it. He does put Kane in towards the end there, but what an awful pass. After Kane sprinting, Kane's actually making the run so he can slide it into
he should have gone right.
And then he gives him it, and then Kane's a bit unlucky, whether he should score a bit unlucky, well, it's the post, and of course then they go down the other end. So why on earth he thinks bringing Lamela on ahead of Bale is beyond me, and I just can't fathom that out. But in all fairness, Newcastle could have been out of sight before that. Defensively, I mean, you said to me actually, didn't you, on the way back from you, or maybe you were still looking into Jill's loving eyes, text me said, strange side he's picked.
Yeah.
But 100% a strange side. That was a side he picked against Villa, being Mourinho on the back of, we'd had that great run of form, and then Bale didn't have a great game and people like that. So he picked that side to go win at Villa, which it did. rightly or wrongly proved the point, but you're away at Newcastle United, who are absolutely poor. They're poor, aren't they? And he plays a side with no pace in it, no width, and then whips Vinicius off at half time, brings Son on, who was actually really bad, by the way, but obviously probably not fit. So if he's not fit, don't play him. It's not like you've not got anybody else who can do that job, is it? Just frustrating, and I've said for a few weeks now, I give Jose his time, but I think he has to go.
Yeah.
I said that. I don't know, you've been, not that you really care, but you've been against him from the start, and I'll give him a chance, but now it just makes bizarre choices.
I think football's evolved past Mourinho's style.
Yeah,
I tell you what, I felt a bit sorry for the striker, Brazilian lad, Vinicius, is how you say it, because there is potential there to be a good player, but rather than be thrusted into the limelight, get ahead of the game, get yourself 2 or 3 up, then give him game time where the game's going to be much more up and up, and then let him attack on counter-attacks where there's no pressure on him to go and try and make a break from the start.
Just a strange side, and for me, it needs to be clearer. Rightly or wrongly, I think Rodon, the centre half, is got some potential. Actually, the Welsh fella. I've never rated Davison Sanchez ever. Tanganga's not a fullback; he's a centre half. Our best 2 centre halves still, and and I'm not saying these are centre halves that are going to win your leagues. Alderweireld and Dyer. That when those 2 have played this season, that's when we've looked at our best. I'm not all over Lo Celso and Bellet, never have been. I'm not saying there's not potential there, but yeah, very, very frustrating, and particularly with Chelsea losing and things like that. And then, of course, Liverpool and West Ham, they're going on to win as well.
Yeah.
Pressure's back on again.
I think the problem for that, from you guys' point of view, is there was a door opened
100%.
and you've not got through there, especially when Villa then go and beat Fulham 3-1, so that keeps them kind of from a distance, still within a potential sniff if the results fall their way. United, again, I had no interest in watching them whatsoever.
They should have had Brighton, Welbeck.
I've seen that where Welbeck has been brought down and they've not.
See, Harry Maguire didn't have much to say about that, did he?
No, it wouldn't do, would it? And then Everton stumble with Crystal Palace, but then West Ham with potentially one of the best results of the weekend, I would have thought, because going to Wolves is never easy.
Nah. Even though they're not playing well this year.
No, it's still not an easy place to go to and picking up a 3-2 win. So congratulations to them, which again makes it a little bit interesting because it's really probably saying now Everton's still got that game in hand that could potentially still thrust them in there. Maybe Villa's a little bit too late, especially if they lose to Liverpool this weekend. You'd think that's them out. But very much between Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, and West Ham. They're just not going away, are they? And Everton.
And actually, to be fair to West Ham, I think I've been sort of saying to them probably before, but I actually think, and I'm not sure particularly like his character, but I've always actually thought that Lingard is a decent player. Because for England, he's never played badly, has he? He's always done all right.
Yeah.
And I just wonder that him in that dressing room, with a bit of experience of winning things, and that Man United arrogance, and the fact that he's got a point to prove, I think he's dragging them through. A little bit like Grealish has been doing for Sevilla, which is why their form's dropped off because he's not played the last 4 or 5 games. I think he's having that bit, and obviously he's got some good players around him in the likes of Souček's really good, isn't he? And Rice is injured, but he's obviously had a really great season. So I might be wrong. Maybe West Ham might just keep ahead of Woodwater in 4th.
Yeah, I think the other one that needs to worry is Leicester just need to pick up a couple of wins. I think if they get another win in the next 2 games, should help them stay away, because I think they're 2 or 3 points ahead of 4th place.
I mean, Spurs, we need to beat Man United this week to stand any chance at top 4, I think.
So I'll quickly look through. Friday night is the first game, Fulham Wolves. We've now gone 3 hours, so makes it a little bit easier on viewing times. City Leeds, you expect Leeds to win that. I think, according to Matty Order, did well anyway. Liverpool versus Villa, so I put that Liverpool 7, Aston Villa 0. We're just teeing them up to.
Went above Matty's head again, did you notice that?
Yeah, he didn't have a clue. Palace versus Crystal Palace. Palace versus Crystal. I can't even speak. Can't speak. Palace versus Chelsea. Be interested to see how Chelsea bounced back from last weekend. Burnley, Newcastle, West Ham, Leicester, which is an interesting one. Leicester win that, I'd say that they secure potentially their 4th place position. But anything else than a win then would then really put Brendan Rodgers, chief flopper, really under some severe pressure then, which could see them fall out the top four. It won't happen this weekend, but could happen the weekend after. Spurs United, like you're saying, this is do or die for you guys. And Mourinho likes playing against his old clubs, doesn't he? Does particularly enjoy running out against an old team.
And again, I said before, I don't think Man United are that good.
No.
I don't honestly, but we'll see.
Hernandez will score. Sheffield United versus Arsenal. Just a nothing game really there for either team. West Brom, Southampton, and then that's on Monday, and then Brighton versus Everton.
West Brom get a win there. Does it outside chance of getting out of it?
Well, according to the bottom of the league, we've got Sheffield United on 14, done and dusted. West Brom 21 points, but with a game in hand on Fulham on 26 points. Newcastle 29 points, Brighton 32, Burnley 33. So you potentially say, with 8 games left, I'd say Burnley is safe. Brighton could get dragged back into it, but it's going to take a mammoth.
I think West Brom and Sheffield United have gone.
Yeah.
I think it's between Fulham and Newcastle, which of course, as we know, is the last game of the season.
Yeah, I was speaking to a Newcastle fan and I said to him, and he's like, "Man, you better not come on and score winner and knock us out." But so that's Premier League done and dusted. We are going to just quickly cast our eye over Champions League matches. So City comfortable, even though Dortmund had an absolute fair goal to chalk off.
I've not seen. I must admit, I've not seen any of it coverage. I've seen the results.
Yeah, so it's the English lad, young lad,
Bellingham. Oh, I did see that goal.
So the ball goes and he just pokes it past Ederson. Ederson
actually kicks in.
Ederson goes down like he's been shot. But he scores, disallowed. I'm like, how's that even happened? Liverpool Real Madrid game, as Matty mentioned, first half Real Madrid battered Liverpool. Deserved to be a couple of goals up. Trent's gone from being brilliant against Arsenal to being back to his rubbish best with a great assist, with a diving header to put them 2-0 up. But then there was a change, and I mentioned this before, is that Naby Keita got dragged off on the 41st, 42nd minute for Thiago. And it was interesting because I was listening to commentary and saying, well, why would he have done that? Why didn't I just wait till half time? And then somebody said, he's making a point.
Yeah.
As a manager, say to him, this is not acceptable. You're not going to hide from this. This is not good enough. And I'll drag you off at whatever minute needs to be done. Because Naby Keita was bobbins. And then Liverpool second half, Thiago got us ticking a little bit more. And we were brilliant for a good 20 minutes where we got ourselves back in the game, got one up. Jota's missed a couple of headers at the back post. One way he should have headed back across the Mane. Would have brought us back into the game. They've had a couple of counter-attacks where they should have done better with. The goal that they scored to put them 3-1 up, I think Nat Phillips is a little bit slow to get close to his Invictus Juniors.
Oh yeah, he's good, yeah.
And he's hit it through his legs, and then Alisson's needs to be stronger hand, he's got a hand that's kind of pushed in.
Too much weight on his moustache.
Possibly, Tom Selleck. But yeah, 3-1, not over.
Not out of it.
You would never say out of it, especially. Oh, it was funny because I saw a meme and it was like, it's alright, 3-1, we're not out of it. They're still got to come to Anfield, and then someone's going, no, they've got to come to Anfield. We're going this season, we're probably out of the cup. And then last night I stayed up and watched a bit of Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich, which was an entertaining game. Bayern Munich had Lewandowski. They win the game 5-6-3. And I think it was interesting is Mbappe, for all this hype around him, his composure in front of goal is not brilliant. The first goal he scored, he gets put through. Neymar was quality. His distribution last night was brilliant. Puts him through, and he's got all the goal to go across, and he's mishit it right into the keeper, and the keeper's kind of already dived and then pushed into the bottom corner for him.
I think I agree with what I've seen of him in front of goal, he's nowhere near the quality of like Lewandowski, Haaland, Kane. And we're not going to talk about the Messis and the Ronaldos, but those number 9 you feel like the people are talking about. He's nowhere near the composure.
No, he's so fast it's untrue.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe it's a bit like Thierry Henry when he first came on the scene. Like Thierry Henry was a winger, then was converted centre forward. Maybe they're trying to do the same role with Mbappe because he is lightning quick, but unfortunately, and like he did in the cup final last year in Champions League, I remember him fluffing a few chances at the beginning down Neuer's throat. that maybe as time goes on, he'll start adapting that. But
Chelsea had a good win as well.
Chelsea 2-0, so you'd say that's comfortable then through.
Apparently read that Mason Mount was outstanding, which
is good for your European Championship.
Yeah, definitely.
Norwich.
I just wanted to say that actually Norwich 7-0 in the week, and now only need 5 points to guarantee promotion, and it could happen this weekend if results go for them.
Pookie back and scoring
25 goals.
Is he going to be like another Dwight Gale type of player where he's going to be brilliant in the Championship but just can't score in the Premier?
But the other thing I was going to say, what a great season they've had, and they've not made any changes, Ahli, to the team that
kept the manager.
They kept the manager, not made any changes really. They brought young Skipping from Spurs, who by all accounts will get Player of the Season by reading it. Apparently he's been brilliant. But I actually watched Middlesbrough-Watford, and Watford are up there, I believe, somewhere in and around. And
Watford a second. Yeah. Watford are 1-0 merchants.
Oh my goodness, the game was absolutely abysmal. It was awful, and it just made me think that I know for years we said the Championship is the most difficult one to get out of, and I think that doesn't change. But how good is it that difficult because the quality is that poor? Because Norwich, let's be honest, a little bit like Sheffield United this year. They were down and out, weren't they, last season? Once they'd had that initial period. And they beat City, didn't they? But then they were down and out at Christmas.
Yeah.
And never looked like really getting results against people. All of a sudden, are absolutely ripping it apart.
Isn't it funny how he wouldn't play Pookie as well the second half of the season?
Yeah. My point is, they're going to obviously win. They're going to obviously win the league. They're going to obviously get up. Is there any money there to? I know they want to re-sign Skip for a year on loan, but I don't think Spurs will let that happen. I think they'll hopefully bomb off Winks and Sissoko and people and bring him in as that other player alongside Hoiberg.
Maybe we've got an inside edge, haven't we? Because we've got a fan over here, Norwich City fan. Maybe we get into Sadler.
Yeah,
see what he's saying, because he keeps his ear to the ground with that.
Yeah, but it's interesting, and what a fine effort. And like you say, fair play to the board. Let's be having him. Kept a man on.
Well, does that tell you that if you stick with the gaffer that got them up to start with, that shows a bit of faith that they can turn it around?
100%.
Right. Enough of football because we've waffled on way too well longer than we expected. But let's quickly skip on to the Masters.
This is one of my favourite sporting weekends ever, Stu, every year. I like the Ryder Cup, but the Masters is. I just love it. I'll be grit to tell you. There'll be some late nights going on.
Starts tonight.
Yeah. So it'll be starting. The coverage would have started now, over here at this time, 5 o'clock now, Thursday evening. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to watching that again. Tuned in a bit last night. Usually have the par 3 competition, don't they? But that didn't happen yesterday because of COVID and things like that.
Yeah, so they have is it Pro-Am first and the par 3?
Yeah, they didn't have that. They just had a practice round. So it's quite interesting watching them practice, and they had a few I think on 16 they're trying to hit it onto the green over the water. So they're trying to mix it up a little bit because obviously there's a few fans in there as well. But very interesting. Really looking forward to that. My tip, I'd really like Justin Rose to win it but I think he's been injured and I don't think he's got enough form. I'd go for one of either Jordan Spieth or Justin Thomas, I think.
Okay. Interesting because I'm just saying that now Larkin is a new golfer. He's suddenly become a golfing expert, so I think he's asking us what we're doing for the Masters. So we'll see if he's got any hints and tips now. He's a brand new one.
Who are you having a float on?
So I picked 3 golfers out. One I've gone with because I think he's just a consistent golfer and he tends to do well, and especially at big tournaments, is Sergio Garcia.
Yeah, won't be out of it. He's in some decent form.
Yeah, and he's always a good outside bet, I think. He can be there and thereabouts.
He's got a lovely wife as well.
I didn't pick it based upon wife.
He would win every week tournament, I reckon.
Oh, would he? Well, if we're going on a good-looking guy, I've gone Francesco Molinari.
He looks like the Crazy Frog. Remember the Crazy Frog?
Yes, so I've gone Francesco Molinari just because he's another one that I always find that when it comes to the decent tournaments, he seems to do well.
I like him, actually.
And then I have picked Justin Rose, just the same as you. I know he's, like you said, he's been injured, but he has got some quality.
Go on, sorry.
And I just think at odds of 66-1.
Decent, because his record, actually, although he's never won it at Augusta, his record there is really good. I think he's had 2 seconds and a third. Never won it, so yeah, I'd like to see it. But it's great, particularly Sunday night, which is going to be a late night Sunday for me. 100%. Good job. Let's hope that Ramadan's been called by then, so we've got a bit of an extra hour in bed. As long as it's tight, I'll stay up and watch it. But it's brilliant, particularly down Amen's corner there, 30, 40, 50. Some of the most compelling sport you'll watch.
Yes, right. Okay, so talking point this week, we mentioned before, Erling Haaland. Big hype about this young gentleman. Playing career started off at Molde and then went to Austria, now to Dortmund, and then this talk of Real, Barcelona, Liverpool, City, United,
Leeds
Chelsea.
United.
Leeds, yeah.
Because he was born in Leeds.
Yes, according to Wikipedia.
He was born in Leeds.
So yeah, there's all sorts of talks on there about him. But question that I was going to throw to Jack is, how good is Haaland?
Well, I think that clearly, I think he looks mustard. From when I see, he looks absolute mustard, brilliant. Is he world class yet? Depends where you level one of that. He's certainly, if he's not world class now, he's certainly going to be world class, I would have thought. He seems to be scoring goals for fun. I know people say, I think Matty said actually, didn't he? So he scored, it's only in the German league, or the Farmers League as he called it. And take your point, I mean, that's the point that I've always made a little bit around people scoring loads of goals in the French league and even in the Spanish league. Messi and Ronaldo, I'm not taking away how good they are, but I'm not sure they'd score the amount of goals they've done if they'd played the amount of seasons in the Premiership. I believe that I'll stand by that. And the Bundesliga probably a little bit similar. Is it as competitive as what it has been? Don't know enough about it, but what you can't argue with that his record or his goals per game for Dortmund, for Salzburg in the Champions League is outstanding. For Norway as well. Clearly, these big sides aren't going to chase him if they don't think he's that good. So I think he's 100%, I would say, is in the top three. We're not counting Ronaldo and Messi. Top three, number nines or strikers, whatever you want to call them, in the world, alongside Kane and Lewandowski, 100%.
Okay, interesting.
100% in fear there.
Okay, right.
You disagree, yeah?
I disagree, yeah. I think there's a lot of hype about nothing. I don't think he's completely off the bar, but I don't think he's as good as his club make. If we talk about goals in the German league, surprisingly, he's not even the top goal scorer in the German league.
Lewandowski is.
He's not even second place.
Is he? Oh.
No, he's only third place in the German.
How many has he got? Do you know?
I don't know how many he's got, but Lewandowski's ahead of him, and then there's an unknown guy. Because this argument started with me and my son. That's what happened. I think there's attributes there that will say he's done well, but I think when you compare him to previous exports, and I particularly look at one at the moment, because Timo Werner was also bandied about as the next best thing, this German international footballer that's going to go on and do X, Y, and Z, and this guy is struggling like mad. I think Haaland's probably built slightly different, and I kind of got this because I put this to Bobby this morning.
Oh, your mate Bobby.
I was like, right, Bobs, what do you think?
Name drop.
Yeah, just drop the mic. So I just said to him, what do you think? And he said, and he's a proper sit on the fence. He's like Matty Aldred. I went, stop being Switzerland. And he was like, well, I don't know. Until he comes over, we can't say for definite if he is. But he says he's got all the attributes, like he's a big, strong, physical boy. So where Timo Werner is not big and strong, but he is quick, maybe he's not quite up for the fight. And he thinks that Haaland would be more up for a fight, the physical aspect of going into games.
In the genes as well?
Yeah, a scrapper. So you've got that aspect of that. I don't know if people are just scrapping around for the next best thing. And I think, when we talked about a long time ago where we talked about who scored more goals, Lee Bowyer or somebody else, and because there's so much press around this young man at the moment, is that people actually think he's better than he is. Because when I said to Harry last night, I was like, I bet Lewandowski scored more goals than Haaland. He's like, no, he hasn't, no chance. Haaland scored way more. And I was like, really? Because when you mentioned then about Norway, he hasn't scored in the last few games for Norway either.
The narrative.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Is that there's a narrative around this young man that he's got this potential. And I don't disagree. There is potential there. I just don't think he is as good as where people think he is at the moment.
Go on then. Put it on your thing. Man City, I don't care what Pep said this week, they're clearly going to sign something to replace Aguero. They have to. They've not got a striker or a goal scorer. Whatever we call it. They've not got a goal scorer. So if you're Pep Guardiola, money's no object as such, okay? And forget about whether people would leave or not. Would you personally go Kane or Haaland?
I go Kane. I'd have to go Kane because he's proven in the Premiership, and I don't think you can put money on an experience like that. And I think Timo Werner is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Chelsea paid. Liverpool have seen something there. Something has not ticked, because as soon as Chelsea have shown interest, Liverpool have just gone, you know what, you're absolutely fine, you can have him. So there's obviously something there that the scouts have seen. And just the same way that the scouts are probably looking at Haaland at the moment and going, yes. I think that if you put Haaland in a team like Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, with the players around him that have got quality, he's going to score goals. There's no doubt about that. And he's got. But I worry is that when it comes to the Premiership and suddenly he's not scoring a goal every game and getting as many chances he does get, that is he going to be that next best thing? And I think he could potentially quite easily be another Timo Werner. So let us know at home. Let us know your viewpoint.
If he is, he will end up at Leeds.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, let us know your viewpoint, because it is an interesting one. And again, it's only opinions. But I think Haaland is a good player. I just don't know if he's of that calibre yet. And like he said there, he's like pick Kane over him any day of the week. Right, fantasy football. As we mentioned, Larks is back, and we're going to put him on in a second. Jack's going to wire him through the microphone. Really technical this in a second, but I'll quickly chuck out this week's winner. Was Chris Kelly for this week. I'll let Larkin chuck in his stuff, and then we'll quickly cover the cup, and then we'll say our goodbyes.
Yeah.
Guess who is back? It's old Larko here after a bit of a sabbatical. I'm back. The SJ boys twisted my arm last week over a couple of beers at the Void in Arabian Ranches to come back and give out some jam. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't overly keen, because what I've noticed around me is my closest rivals, my competitors in all the leagues that I'm in, been stealing the jam that I've been giving out. They've been living off my scraps. So I've gone on a hiatus for the last couple of weeks. I've got my head down. I've done the due diligence. I think that's how you say it. Been working hard. I've been keeping my tips to myself, and I've climbed up in every league that I'm in. I think I'm in second place in my work league, first in the family league, dominating the brother-in-law in your face, James Shrimpton. Okay, dominating him. And yeah, I'm on for a good run in, I should say. Business end of the season. So because of that, my tips are going to come a little bit more sparsely these days. I don't want to give too much out. But what I will say, the first bit of jam I'm going to give you is that, make no bones about it, this is a psychological warfare now. The gaffer that keeps their bottle going this end of the season is going to be the gaffer that wins. Simple as that, okay? You've got to find your closest competitor, you've got to find their weak spot, you've got to find their buttons, and you've got to press them. Alright, there's a few things been said to the brother-in-law this week. A few harsh comments, and my sister didn't like it, but do you know what? I don't care. It's fantasy. Fantasy first, family second. It's the rules you've got to live by. My top tip for you would be any work leagues you're in, look who's just above you in that league. 2, 3 spots above you. Alright? Start aiming up. Alright? Watch what they do during the day. Where do they eat their lunch? When do they go to the bathroom? And then you work out when they go to the bathroom, and bang! Boom, boom, boom! On the door, bang, bang, bang. Maybe they just shout, fire, get out! Or something like that, just to rattle them. Because you know that they're getting their phone out, they're having a sit, and they're tinkering with their team. Alright? So you've got to take that away from them. Use any advantage you can. Alright? Okay, so psychological warfare, you've got to literally rain terror on everyone in that league. Okay, there's a lot to play for, a lot of pride at stake. On the footballing front, looking at my tactics board, I feel like Liverpool are going to have a hell of a run in. They're just competing in the Premiership. They've not got to worry about Europe. That's where City, Pep, come on Pep, give me a break. Rest their players all the time, alright? Play John Stones. He can play 2-3 times a week. You listening? I know you are. Play John Stones. Play Gun Logan. Play him, alright? Stop resting. Anyway, a man who's not going to be resting his players is Jeremy Klopp, okay? And I know that Jota, coming back from a bit of fitness, coming back from his injury, he's going to be there. He's going to go for a big finish at 6.3, 6.4 mil. Absolute jam. Why don't you give him the arm back this week, alright? So, great to be back. Look forward to dishing out some more psychological tips as the weeks progress, okay? Larko, over and out, staying forever humble, working hard, doing the graft, bringing it down.
Well, I think on that point we will say we do not condone jumping in anybody's cubicle, banging on any doors, or screaming and shouting at anybody.
He's taking it very seriously, isn't he?
Right, but if you see the size of him, he's like a silverback gorilla. You imagine that kid banging on your toilet while you're in there. You probably.
I've seen him bang on the toilet doors. They don't stay on the hinges every time.
Oh my goodness! But I think on the good point is that there is always aim high. I think that's a good point to take in.
And he's dead right about Pep. He stitched me last week by resting players.
He does me all the time. I put Cancelo in for my triple captain, and he rested him for the first game, and then he came on for the second game, and he just got 2 points, and I was like, so I got 6 points for that. But it ruined me. But interesting. But on fantasy football news, obviously, Shomi Mane is currently top of ours. Chris Kelly's slowly quickly behind him. But what has been interesting is the Champions League draw. So we have finished all the group stages.
Thanks, Shred, for your admin on that.
Yeah. So what is going to happen is first game in the last 16 is going to be played on game week 32. If it's a draw, then you have the week after to play replay, and then every week on the even number will be the game of that round. So the first teams I read out here were their actual group winners. So Larkin with Jamseason, however we pronounce it, is playing Going El Loco. You can't clock this. Has made it through, despite having a disastrous season, has made it through to the last 16. That is an achievement on its own.
It's like Wigan winning the FA Cup.
That is it. I'm playing Notts County. It's all about Franco. I think won all 3 of his games versus Dadbod 86. Then 2 goals, 1 Schlupp versus Runizel Rochesters, which you'll remember fondly, won't you?
Yeah, brilliant. Arsenal fan. Crack on.
Yeah. Desert Dons 13, is that?
Yeah.
Versus FC Gaza Strip, who finished second in my group. FPL George versus Blue Army, which I think is Chris Kelly, who's second in the league, who's the highest ranked player in the competition. Mad Mitch has done really well, plays New Kids Von de Beek. And then our friend from Wales, Golden Madrid versus Moons. But the interesting one is if I win my game and Larkin wins his game, we play each other in the quarterfinals.
There we go. Well, that is exciting. So that will take place next game week.
Week 32, yeah.
Perfect.
So that's it. Another show done and dusted. A little bit longer than we anticipated, but we've got there.
That's all right. Brunching tomorrow?
No, I don't know. I need to wait to find out what the wife allows me to do. Probably I need to have a shave before I see it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You'll be in bother, pal. Wedding anniversary this weekend.
Oh, congratulations, how many years?
7.
7. Could have got less for Masters.
Copper. That's what it is.
You're bringing a copper?
No, it's a copper. So 7 anniversary is a copper. So as a wedding anniversary present, guess what she's got?
Copper wire?
Penny.
Ah. Right, on that.
What do we?